Alright,
We got 1 minute.
So I was 1 minute early, perfect.
It's
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
It just
Oh,
turned
there it
6.
is, yeah. 10 seconds early.
alright, so we're ready to start. I call this meeting of Hamtramck City Council to order. Today is April 11th, 2023, and it's 6 p.m. Would the clerk call the rules, please?
Councilman Musa.
Present.
Councilman Chowdhury.
Present.
Councilman Al-Samiri.
Yes, present.
Councilman Hassan.
Present.
Mr. Mayor.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Alright, thank you. Let's rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Alright.
Next, what about CED? CED. For our public hearing, nobody's here from
It's
CED.
fine. Yeah, they did the presentation last time.
Do we have any community announcements?
Can I make I just want to say that the deadline is April 25th for turning in your affidavits of identity for candidacy for your ballots. So April 25th is the deadline.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. All right, so we move to the proclamations, recognitions, and presentations. And we have the first one, proclamation recognition of Autism Awareness Month.
Do you want me to read them?
You can go ahead and read it.
Whereas autism is a complex development disorder that affects individuals in unique ways, and whereas according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 54 children in the United States are diagnosed with autism. And whereas Autism Awareness Month provides an opportunity to increase public understanding of autism. And whereas increased awareness of autism can lead to earlier diagnosis and intervention, which can improve outcomes for individuals with autism. And whereas individuals with autism have unique abilities, perspectives, and contributions that enrich our communities. And whereas it is important to promote acceptance, inclusion, and support for all individuals with autism and their families. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Hamtramck does hereby proclaim the month of April as Autism Awareness Month. I urge all citizens to learn more about autism and to support individuals with autism in our communities. Let us work together to create a more inclusive and accepting society for individuals with autism and their families.
Thank you.
That's it.
The next one is proclamation recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Month.
I got this one here.
Okay, thank you.
City of Hamtramck proclamation and recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas every child deserves to grow up in a safe, loving, and nurturing environment, and whereas child abuse is a serious issue that affects children and families in communities throughout the world, and whereas child abuse can have devastating consequences for children, including physical, emotional, and psychological trauma, and whereas preventing child abuse and neglect requires a collective effort from families, communities, and organizations, and whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month provides an opportunity to raise awareness of the importance of preventing child abuse and to promote the well-being of all children, now therefore be resolved that the City of Hamtramck officially declares the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We call upon all citizens, organizations, and government agencies to work together to prevent child abuse and to promote the well-being of all children. Let us raise awareness, support families, and create safe and nurturing environments for all children. Together we create a brighter future for our children and our communities.
Thank you. Third one is City of Hamtramck proclamation recognition of Arab American Heritage Month.
I can do that one too.
All right, thank you.
Whereas for over a century, Arab Americans have been making valuable contributions to virtually every aspect of American society, in medicine, law, business, technology, government, and culture. And whereas since migrating to America, men and women of Arab descent have shared their rich culture and traditions with neighbors and friends, while also setting fine examples of model citizens and public servants. And whereas they brought with them to America the resilient family values, strong work ethics, dedication to education, and diversity in faith and creed that have added strength to our great democracy. And whereas Arab Americans have also enriched our society by sharing in the opportunistic American spirit that makes our nation free and prosperous. And whereas the history of Arab Americans in American life often remains neglected or defaced by misunderstanding, bigotry, and anti-Arab hate in the forms of crimes and speech. And whereas Arab American issues such as civil rights abuses, harmful stereotyping, and bullying must be combated in the forms of education and awareness. And whereas they join all Americans in the desire to see a peaceful and diverse society where every individual is treated equally and feels safe. And whereas the incredible contributions of heritage of Arab Americans have helped us build a better nation. Now therefore be it resolved, the City of Hamtramck officially declares April 2023 to be the National Arab American Heritage Month in Hamtramck and encourages all residents to join in this special observance.
All right, thank you. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? All right, we'll move to the public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No emails today, but Lynn Blasey, Hamtramck resident, welcome, 3 minutes.
Hello, Mayor and Council. May I proactively ask for more time?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate all of the new appointments. It's really nice to have Joy Dahl officially, hopefully if it's approved in consent agenda, officially looped back into the Arts and Culture Commission. We've been working on Juneteenth events the last few years together. And this year we're excited to have a focus on health and mental health for our event at Sarah Garrett Park. Regarding Resolution 2023-49, I just want a little bit of clarification on what the increased salary budget adjustment is for the city manager budget line. And then on 2023-50, looking at that, I'm a little bit curious in the difference between the budgets for the elections, buildings and grounds, city manager and mayor and council. It seems like the 2024 fiscal year is less than the adjusted budget for this fiscal year, and it just seems a little bit counterintuitive. So I'm curious why it's less than this year. 2023-51, regarding the economic development, strategic plan and coordination. I really encourage council to be engaged in this planning process and lean in on this plan and use it as you make decisions moving forward. Because it's important when you have a strategic plan to actually use it and know it, just like we have the master plan and the accompanying action plan for it. And then regarding Resolution 2023-52, as chair of the Hamtramck Area Disaster Recovery Group, I'm really excited about the Hazard Mitigation Assistance Grant, and especially as we're working to help residents recovering from the 2021 floods. And I was just wondering if we have an estimated timeline for the research part, and I'm also curious whether the grant covers the implementation or is that going to be funded separately. Regarding Resolution 2023-53, I'm super excited that we're getting our own street sweeper. This will help us be a lot more effective than our previous contract, only having residential streets swept once a year. We can get a regular schedule, so I'm really looking forward to that and our efforts to keep Hamtramck as litter-free as possible, and with the flood mitigation. Regarding Resolution 2023-54, I'm really glad to see movement happen so quickly after our discussion at the last DDA meeting about negotiating the free days for the parking meter. And I'm just curious what the process is if that passes today, if it will go into effect immediately, or this is giving permission to negotiate further, and how that will be communicated to the community. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Mr. Bill Meyer, Hamtramck resident, also 3 minutes.
Hello, Council and Mayor. My name is Bill Meyer from One Hamtramck, Chair One Hamtramck. So I just want to, I'm going to say my comments about the agenda items to the end of the meeting. Just want to say that One Hamtramck is going to start work on the Emmett Park soon, down by the Sheba Cafe, as you all know. And I want to raise a concern I have about the fact that this used to be a parking lot. used to hold 5 to 10 cars in there. It was already tough, pretty wrecked up, the parking lot's pretty destroyed, so we were gonna repave it and put some sort of stage there and have events in the garden and all that good stuff. To enhance the mural, which is a beautiful mural. We're gonna fix the mural up and all that. However, we felt bad because we're taking away 6 parking spots. And now, we got the bike trail, which is taking up many more than 6 spots. So I feel a little guilty about the fact that you guys are wiping out all the parking spots, not you guys particularly, but the city is. And I almost wonder if we should even do anything in this park and just keep it as a parking lot, because you guys need parking spaces. So let's just pave Paradise and get rid of it and keep the bike trails. I don't know what you think, but it'd be a shame if we didn't finish through with the Inman Park. But we want to do what the people need. That's why we did this mural, and we thought we'd design a park for the people. But maybe they need parking spaces more, so I'm gonna have to talk to you guys personally about that. So, also wanted to mention that Twyla's memorial that we had here in Hamtramck back on December 11th was attended by a lot of you people, and I once again sincerely thank you for being part of that. Just want to let you know that we are showing the video of the Zoom meet of that event. It's been edited into a documentary, and it's going to be shown on a certain day, April 23rd, Sunday. Also, there will be a concert for Twyla. That's the last of the memorials. That'll be on her birthday, May 21st. And since it's a Sunday afternoon, and if any of you can put in your calendar, I'd appreciate seeing you there. It'd be beautiful. I think the videos, as far as I know, our great videographer of the history of Hamtramck is here, and he may, I think he mentioned he's going to put these on our Hamtramck Library channel, so that would be beautiful. Okay, now, there's potholes on my street so bad that I'm hitting sidecars trying to avoid them. There's like hundreds of holes on Trowbridge between Gallagher and Lombard. So I know you know that, and I'm sure it's on many other streets beside mine. So I don't know what you plan to do about that. I'm sure you're gonna fix it, but you better do it quick, because they're getting deep. We also wanna ask the council to change the rules for public comments to allow non-agenda items on both the beginning and the end, which you can
Thank
do
you, sir.
very easily. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment.
All right, thank you.
Well, I'm here.
And then, yes, and then, Councilman Mahmoud
Yes.
entered at 6:11.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Move to the consent agenda. And we have approval of minutes from the March 28, 2023 regular city council meeting. B, approval of invoice registered date ending April 11, 2023. C, approval of pre-approved expenditure date ending April 11, 2023. D, resolution 2023-46, approving appointment to Human Relations Commission and DDA. E, resolution 2023-47, approving appointments to Art and Culture Commission. F, resolution 2023-48, approving appointment to Planning Commission.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, no objections?
Mr. Mayor, we have all 3 candidates here.
All right,
Sure.
you wanna,
I'm gonna do one at a time, just so that it doesn't confuse me.
all right.
Adam? Adam actually is getting appointed to 2 positions. You can stand behind the podium.
sure.
Yeah. And then right hand up and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Adam L. Harvey,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties as member
the duties as a member
of the Downtown Development Authority
of the Downtown Development Authority
and an advisory member
and advisory member
of the Human Relations Commission
of the Human Relations Commission
of the City of Hamtramck
of the City of Hamtramck
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you.
And here and here for me. Thank you so much. You wanna speak?
Just thank you to all of you for appointing me to the position. I'll do my best to fulfill the position. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Adam. Mr. Dwight L. Garrett. How are you, sir?
All right,
Welcome.
thank you.
Raise your hand up and repeat after me, sir. I state your name.
I, Dwight L. Garrett,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
support the Constitution of the United States of America
and that I will, and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties as
the duties as
an advisory member
an advisory member,
of the Arts and Culture Commission
Arts and Culture Committee,
of the City of Hamtramck,
City of Hamtramck,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir. Sign here and there. Thank you, sir. Did you want to
Thank you.
speak?
I'd like to say I'm honored to be a member, and I hope to work with y'all. That's my ability.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you.
Salim, is it Salim? Salim Lutfi?
Salim Lodi.
Ludi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name.
I, Salim Lodi,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully
the
discharge
duties as a member
as the duties as member
of the Planning Commission
of the Planning Commission
of the City of Hamtramck,
of the City of Hamtramck,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. You're running away, so I'm assuming no comments?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move to the public hearing, and we have Resolution 2023-17B, approving public hearing and second reading of rezoning multiple parcels on Kniff from residential to multi-use. Can I have
Can we, we're motioning to start the
Harry, I'll motion.
Hassan motion, Councilman Hassan,
I'll
Councilman
second.
Mahmoud second.
Okay.
And it's 6:17?
Yeah, 17, yeah.
6:17. Ms. Lynn Blasey?
Hello again, Mayor and Council. I just want to state that I'm in support of this change, and I think that it's in line with our master plan and will definitely ease the process for development of that stretch of Kniff by not requiring investors and developers to go through the extra steps to get approvals through the ZBA. So I really think this is in line with making more people want to come do business in Hamtramck, and hopefully we can make some parts of that stretch more appealing as well too. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bill Meyer?
Interesting point about when we were dealing with the marijuana dispensary issues last year or the year before, you remember that? The properties, the dispensary that was gonna open on Kniff, excuse me, had to go through some process of changing their, what's the word? Zoning status, yes. And so I did a little research on it and found out that the place on the corner, the gas station on the corner, and the place across the street were zoned residential. So was the marijuana place and many others. And I assume that's what we're doing now, is changing some of these to be commercial. So at the time, nothing was ever mentioned about that. It was just, there was no way you were gonna have a marijuana dispensary there, because for years, probably for decades, that property was residential. And it never came to the public. They switched the zoning to allow this marijuana dispensary there, without really anyone knowing about that. And also without many people knowing that the gas station on the corner, and I think Kniff Electric or whatever, there's several of those businesses that have never been paying commercial taxes for those. They were zoned as residential. That's a lot lower taxes. So my question is, how did this happen? How for so many years were these places considered residential, no one ever checked it. They were paying low taxes for it. So I didn't go look into how long it was, but, I'm glad you're turning it into, can you answer that?
They're paying commercial, from what I understand.
They were?
Just because they're zoned that way, they're still paying commercial taxes.
They were. Okay, so did that mean that when the marijuana dispensary came in, they had to rezone it?
It still had to be rezoned, yeah.
Because
Variance, now it's gonna be rezoned by.
now they're gonna have to pay commercial, yeah. So they chose to do that, to pay commercial, the other ones,
Well, if it's a commercial business, they have to pay commercial, it's just the way it goes.
even if it's zoned wrong.
Correct.
I see. All right, thank you. That's all I want to say. I'm glad more businesses are coming to Hamtramck, bringing the taxes, bringing the money. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment, so we can motion to close, to end public comment.
I'd like to make the motion to close.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. 6:21.
So we
We have to
we
have
open
it
it
as
again
a
to
resolution.
discuss.
You have to
Oh,
motion
motion,
to discuss.
I'll make a motion to reopen
Thank you.
public hearing.
I'll second.
No, as a
To-
motion.
to-
No,
yeah,
discussion,
motion to
sorry.
discuss.
Yes,
Discuss.
that's
Yeah,
not
I
public
hit
hearing.
that word, it,
You know what you meant.
I know.
Is there
And
any discussion? We
anyone wants to discuss then?
discussed the first time around. Vote?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Councilman Mahmoud?
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri?
Yes.
Councilman Hassan?
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury?
Yes.
Councilman Musa?
Yes.
Mr. Oh, actually. Does the mayor vote? on
Yep,
that?
yep.
It's not an
yeah.
ordinance, it's like
It's a
rezoning.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
not necessarily? Okay. Then, resolution 2317B is approved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll move to the new business. And we have a resolution 2023-49 approving 2022-23 third quarter budget adjustments. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right,
Mr. Mayor,
Discussion.
we do have our controller here in case there are any questions. However, this is just normal business, quarterly adjustments to the budget as we go along, trying to bring everything in line with the actual spending.
all right,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
controller is here.
Yes.
TFO?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
any-
here.
Questions for him?
So how you feel it is what is the real percentage of the real budget, assuming thing, a lot of thing modified, so you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the question.
Yeah, I've gone through the budget in quite a bit of detail, and that's why you see so many different amendments. Which just shows that, you know, I've gone into, and these are just some of the major ones. There will be some minor adjustments in the fourth quarter as well, you know, as we close out the year.
Yeah, after 6 months, I don't want the measure adjustment again, so you feel comfortable, we are okay?
Yeah.
What is the mayor and council 62,000 808 what is it? The revenue and expenditure Board of City Islamic.
Where are you looking at?
172, third one down from the top.
Yeah,
We have a city council expenditure? Yeah.
Are you looking at the budget or are you looking at the amendment?
I think it is the amendment, I believe, right? Budget amendment, yes.
Yeah, he's on the budget amendments.
Amendment.
So what, your question is, it's different than last year? It's increased?
Well, last year was 62,000.
Yes, recommended 92.
And 92 was the amended budget for this year.
Okay.
Eventually it will be there, so.
Yeah,
But
But
it's in-
there's no difference, there's no amendment in this particular item. So this is what was the budget
The
originally.
third line is the recommended change, the recommended third quarter amendment. With 0 on that one.
correct. So there is no change on the third
No.
quarter
For that one.
for that one, okay. So this answers your question?
Yes, thank you.
Call for vote, please.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2349 approved.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-50, first reading of Ordinance 2023-01, City of Hamtramck 2023-2024 General Appropriation Ordinance.
Offer.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, as you know, it is the first reading. We will have a public hearing at the next council meeting. Our controller is here in case you have any questions, but usually with the first reading, we just zip through it and do that at the next one.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Nope.
So the next public hearing on this would be April 28th, 26th.
25th, next Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Right.
Okay, vote.
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2350 approved.
Thank you. The next one is Resolution 2023-51, approval of EDA Public Works and Economic Adjustment Assistance Program for Economic Recovery Plan and Coordinator.
Make an offer?
Second.
Mr. Mayor, this is simply just the approval of the grant that we won. We did speak about this prior. It is a 3-year term for a full-time economic recovery coordinator who will work in line with our CED director. Very excited about this. As you know, we need as much help as we can get in community and economic development, and this should put a good shot in the arm of that.
So are we looking for someone now?
We are.
Okay. What are the requirements? Does he have like,
I'll have to get you back to you on that one specifically, because I don't believe the posting is done, but we do have a couple part-timers in-house right now that I'm sure we probably will look at first, but regardless, the posting will go up. I can share that with you once it is developed.
all right. I hope that we get someone who can write grants on that department.
We're all writing grants.
Okay. All right.
Somebody buy a grant to get more grants.
Yeah.
Get more grants, yeah.
All right, so, do we have any more discussion on this? No.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2351 approved.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-52, approval of hazard mitigation assistance grants for 2021 building resilient infrastructure and communities.
Offer.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, just another acceptance of many grants that come before you. This is the grant to pay for the designing and the research needed to develop the sewer system upgrades. It's essentially the first step in the major upgrades forthcoming.
Okay. 325,000?
700,
Yeah, okay.
So,
Any,
just a clarity on this particular grant, it's a 75-25 split.
mhm.
325 is the total grant amount, out of which 75% will be paid by the city, 25% will be paid by the city and 75 by the grant. That's how the split is.
Okay.
So we'll continue to do our best to bring grants for this project as much as possible to relieve as many costs as we possibly can to the city on this.
And other ways of relief.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Vote.
Vote.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmood.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2352 approved.
Thank you. Next one is Resolution 2023-53, approving the purchase of one street sweeper truck for the Department of Public Service.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Mayor, we do have John with us from DPS. I don't know that he needs to speak, because it's pretty self-explanatory. I think we're all pretty excited about it. We hope to get it, John, how long before this one comes in if it's approved?
Sometime June, mid to late June.
Okay, so hopefully by June, we're out there sweeping our own streets.
So completely brand new, right?
Brand new, right off the showroom.
That's right.
It's no contract, it's no contract,
It's ours.
Congratulations.
yes.
So I'd like to say something on that.
John, you come on up.
What's nice about this particular unit, and why I'm really for it, is it has the attachment to do catch basins. So we can start cleaning out our own catch basins, because we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars cleaning out catch basins. So I can get a preventative maintenance program going, bring the truck out. It empties right into a roll-off dumpster, which is convenient. You fill it up, you ship it out, you're done. So you don't have to dump it on the street, use a backhoe to clean it up, or a dozer or nothing. It's designed to empty right into a dumpster. So it's a multi-purpose vehicle that I think is gonna offer a lot of benefits for us all together.
Nice, very good.
John, I have a question. So is this the least expensive one out there?
They all seem to be right hovering between 285 and 400,000. I did a lot of research on them, and this one, for what it multi-purposing can do, is the best priced unit. Plus, I look at the items that we have to maintain on it, and what those renewal fees are for your brushes, your filters. This is a vac model, so it has a filter system, and it picks up the fine grains. Mark Ragsdale, who was a former director here years ago, has this same system in Fraser. And I spoke to him, and he said this was probably the best unit that we could pick for this community.
Right. Because I have emailed you one of them, companies, along with this picture, that
Yep.
that we have been asking to have one, because our street sweeping is very important, required.
This is
Uh,
nice and movable too, and most all of our guys can drive it. You don't need special licenses for it, which is good.
What, does that have a warranty?
Yes, there's a 2-year warranty on it.
Parts, everything?
Yeah,
Parts and
I think
labor?
it's bumper to bumper on
Because this is
the,
$330,000 truck we're purchasing. We're
yeah,
going for, if
Yeah,
it
most
break
of
down and it's gonna cost us $120,000 to repair it, we're just gonna keep spending money. So we wanna make sure that it has sort of a warranty on the parts and labor, so
yeah.
It's a brand new, it's supposed to be warranty.
that's what I'm trying to understand, what's the,
Yeah, I'm sure there's
Yes,
options
yes,
to
yes.
extend the warranty. I do
Sure.
not wanna know what those prices are on that, but as long,
manufacturer warranty should be included.
yeah, we have there's a 1-year on it, and then there's an extended one on certain applications on the unit.
All right, and where will this be parked?
Inside somewhere, covered. So no, we're
It's
gonna
not a
make
small
room
truck,
for it
it's
in our
pretty
hall.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and this will be going through the residential and commercial sweeping?
Yep, we're gonna have Hamtramck plastered all over the side of it, because I want the residents to be able to see that we're actually making.
Making the progress, yes. It's long overdue. That's what I want to say to the folks, that we finally making a progress and stepping into the right directions. And that's what we need to do for the city. Bring the city clean up. It's starting from the administration first. When we start cleaning up, then the residents and the commercial and non-residents will take care of it, right, you know.
And then everybody
I
will be
appreciate you,
cross-trained,
John,
too.
doing and the city manager putting this time in and getting it together, and everyone else. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to say that we are very fortunate to have this in such a short time, because these units are not available,
Mm-hmm.
and when you order them, waiting period is a long time. So
Nice.
we were very lucky to get this in. So it's almost like a one-off thing that either you take it or somebody else is going to buy it.
Oh, wow.
So, we were lucky that we were able to move fast on this.
So my email worked. Thank you.
Mr. Prattam, you want to say something?
So, we had it previously. First emergency manager came, screw us, sold everything,
Sold everything.
yeah, what we had, because most of them don't know about it. Sold everything, show the revenue, balance the budget, and he should do balance the budget the other way. Some of the contract, he did not do that one, and that is the reason and situation we lost it. we have to buy it. So
Again,
as a residents, we have to do something our own permanent. So it is first step. Second is the part of the John job, he working his job and manager also. So some of the thing, we cannot look all of the things. That's why you guys appointed and you're doing the full-time job. So this is part of the job and you're doing, we really appreciate for to doing the job. That's all. And just want to let my colleagues and residents, we had it, they sold it, everything. So that's all the balance, the budget and gone. So, yeah, so just want to let you know. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this truck is running 5 days a week or on the demand, on needed?
Whatever we can afford it with the employee.
How many times you gonna sweep the street?
We asked, are we doing it 5 days a week?
Oh, well, we're gonna have to, well, it's gonna be baby steps in the beginning, so, we're gonna have to get the residents used to it, because obviously cars are gonna have to move from one side of the street when we do it.
We're gonna hear about the parking from.
It's gonna be a learning curve, I'm sure, but what the goal is to get it on a regular basis, so they start to realize this, oh, it's Friday between 12 and 3, they're gonna come here. So,
Every sudden street in different days, you have to schedule, let people know.
the idea is,
We're
well,
gonna have to put a map
Right.
together, or schedule,
Exactly.
it's gonna be.
It's been quite good work behind the scene.
We need to make a increased ticket for parking.
Because
Increase
previously,
ticket, if they have a ticket, $50, make it 100. That's what we want. We gotta increase the ticket.
we're gonna probably put a mask out in the front, picking up the big items so they don't go in the machine, and we're gonna have a truck that follows, that removes the signs as they're cleaning that side, and they'll place the signs on the other side of the street. Then 2 days later, they'll do the other side of the street.
Yep.
So we're not sending people out twice to do the same job. So, once I get down the system, we do have a system that Rodney, the former director, had set up already, so
We
it's
had
just
it.
basically gotta be modified.
Yeah, but we have to have a ticket, make the ticket like almost $100.
So the scout car will be behind that truck.
So we'll put the enforcement officer on the bumper and he can fling the tickets.
All right.
good
We're
job.
not telling it, it's actually gonna be a police officer driving the truck.
No, police car may be around there. He's right. Some of the people don't care.
Yeah.
previously we had once a year.
They say, oh,
sweeping the
that's
street.
only $20-50.
So how many times you gonna sweep the
They
street?
sweep like that one. They leave a lot of space and a lot of dirt.
Councilman, I'm asking.
All right, they will figure out how to do it.
Yep.
I mean, but while you are on there, what's the plan for the potholes now? Because I keep getting pressure.
Yes,
from
and we've
residents.
been, believe it or not, we've been hitting a lot of them, but they seem to blow up right away, so, we will
Is it
be on
because
them
of cheap
again
materials?
Thursday. We'll be doing some more.
I drove
No,
lot
I-
of street today. Some of them.
Right,
do that.
it's,
Yeah, they're,
it's needed to get some more attention.
that's what's nice about getting a little more.
Yeah, I
help.
know.
That took us off topic.
You know, I keep getting mentioned on Facebook like crazy
I know.
about the potholes, and I don't know what to say. I keep telling them it's coming,
Yeah, me
about
too,
to
yeah,
start.
it's-
So,
We're
We'll
trying to
we'll talk about
systematically
that.
do it, but we find ourselves jumping from.
I know.
Because everyone keeps calling, so we try to get them as they come, but,
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing them. I mean, it's
all
happening.
right,
Yeah.
so it's a priority at this time, so.
Well, we have more guys that have started, so things will be picking up a little faster pace now.
All right, thank you so much. I think we're ready to vote.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes,
Councilman El Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Yes.
Councilman Musa.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2353 approved.
Thank you. The last one is Resolution 2023-54, approving second addendum to parking service agreement.
I'll make a motion.
second.
Discussion?
I actually have a question. Does it start next year, January 1st?
It's starting
This year.
This year.
Provided council approves it, it'll
I
be
know.
starting here real soon.
From this year's, from this year's.
Oh, so,
14th.
This year.
okay.
After
so-
few days.
If
Okay.
council
tomorrow.
approves it right now, it'll
Okay.
start.
From today,
Because I
from
didn't
today.
want us to not have till
Mayor,
December and
We
not.
start from today,
No,
As soon as we
from the
approve.
14th.
huh?
14th, in 2 days.
In 2 days.
Oh.
In reality, they have to approve the minutes before a resolution is approved, so it's really in 2 weeks that it gets approved.
It'll be retroactive,
Okay.
it's okay.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah, we're starting immediately.
So is everything we needed?
Can we,
It's good.
Well, yeah, we do. We just,
Do you need to discuss it?
we do.
Okay.
We just wanted to
We didn't need to
Okay.
cut, Mayor.
Hmm?
We didn't need to cut like 5 days to move it for the.
Eid
For
al-Adha?
Eid al-Adha, there is 5 days Al-Adha, 10 days now.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote it, I wrote the addendum.
Yes.
It's exactly
Okay.
what you guys wanted, I promise.
Sure,
Alright.
yeah, good job.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
That's why I asked if you guys would discuss,
I
because I
don't
know
think-
exactly how you guys want it.
Yeah, that's,
So
we
we,
don't need-
we heard mayor
we
and
need to discuss.
council, what you guys wanted, we reached out, Lydia wrote it, and with your approval, we'll sign it. Actually, the parking company already signed it, so literally this can be signed. as soon as
Yeah,
you guys
that's
approve
it.
alright.
This is good.
So starting the 14th of this month, that would be the last 10 days of the Ramadan,
Yeah, but
including Eid,
for
Eid,
Ramadan, they started
we
2
will
days.
have a free
They gave
parking on
days
those
left.
area that has meters.
Yes.
And parking.
And parking lots.
Eid Adha.
So
Maybe
folks,
5 days.
That's great news,
And because this
and
company,
thank
they
you
have
so
a-
much,
we're gonna
city
be
administration
Yes.
and colleagues and
Yes,
mayor,
thank you.
putting it together. And, you know, we deserve to have a free parking during the holidays. And a vast majority Muslim in this community, they go to shopping, they go to parking lot, you know, so why not give them some linear, some space, some peace of mind to park and shop all day and all night if they're open. So, we did the best we can, and then I want to thank the DDA also, that they worked on that too.
Yeah, I have to mention that
Appreciate it.
the idea started in the DDA and we discussed it there.
Oh, this is his idea, he's the shining star.
So it's, yeah, diversifying the holiday season, you know, it was mentioned in the DDA. And then I brought it to Max's attention and everyone else. And I want to thank you all for.
I was hoping, I wrote a letter to, I
I
emailed
think
for a whole
everybody was
month.
reaching out to me asking for it.
Yeah, I was asking for a whole month, and
Yeah.
I started collecting signatures for that whole month of free
Yeah.
parking for Ramadan, you know, but then
Let's take a vote.
it's gonna cost us a lot because of the contract we have in place, but we came up with a better.
Yeah, so
than-
that idea is to take
Yes.
2 weeks from December to
December
here.
to this.
That was
It's a
by
fair
the
compromise.
Yeah, it's
So
a
far-
very good idea.
So far, we don't know, we might have a better idea next.
Well, yeah,
Mr.
thank you so
Chair,
much. Yes.
Yeah.
Only one sentence. I'm sorry, Mohit Mahmood is getting, you understand. It is the diversity, what we did the fair practice. That's all we did. And it's fits for everybody. Thank you.
And at the end, it's the shopping season, so this is what we need, people to come and park in Joseph Campo and shop before the Eid holiday, you know,
Before
the
any-
Christmas, New Year, all these shopping seasons. So thank you so much, and we can go ahead and.
Thank you,
vote.
Mayor.
Thank you.
We discussed it also before. So it is very fair. So we split the holiday times.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Musa,
Yes.
Councilman Chowdhury,
Approved.
Councilman Mahmoud,
Yes.
Councilman Al Samiri,
Yes.
Councilman Hassan,
Yes.
Resolution 2354 approved.
Thank you, and we move to the reports. We have Plant Moran financial forecast presentation.
Mr. Mayor, I understand it's a little bit out of our normal range here for our agenda, but we were trying to accommodate Plant Moran because they were having some scheduling problems, and we wanted to get them in as quick as we can. So we did move them to the end on this one occasion.
Thank you very much. Is the PowerPoint?
Yep,
Is there a clicker?
no, just tell me that.
Oh,
I'll try to follow along, because I'm not too bad at that.
All right.
He's the one kill us.
Good evening. My name is Brian Kamler. I'm a partner with Plant Moran, and off and on for the past 9 years as projects have come up, my team and I have been serving the city of Hamtramck. This is the third year of this financial forecast project. We were hired back in February-ish of 2001, so it was mid-pandemic. There was a lot of uncertainty about several of your significant revenue sources. I mean, everywhere we had questions about property taxes and income taxes as people were working from home. But you have a couple additional revenue sources that at the time were very much in question and very doubtful. And so we were hired to take a 5-year look. If we continue on the path that we're on, where is the city of Hamtramck gonna be in 5 years? Came back last year and updated it. Coming out of the pandemic, the city was rebounding well, and now a year later, you're in even better shape than we anticipated a year ago. Now, please, better is not great. Better is better. You were in a very rough position 2 years ago. Good things have happened, but you still have a ways to go. So I just want to temper the enthusiasm as I go through some of these. Next, please. So this is your general fund. The blue bar is revenue, the orange bar is expense, the gray bar is the remaining fund balance. Fund balance is your savings, as it were. So back in, and this is on the fiscal year, so when we were hired in February of 2021, we were looking at 3 straight years of expenses exceeding revenue. So that means 3 straight years of our savings going down. And you had things like the jail closing, and GM wasn't running, and several other things. So at that point in time, it was a little bit scary as to what direction you were going. However, if you look at 2022, and 23 is not yet complete, that's a bit of a forecast, all of a sudden your revenues many of them have rebounded. And you actually had a surplus in 2022, and we would anticipate that you'll have another one for fiscal year 23. So that is a far cry from where you were just 24 months ago. Next. So we looked at all of the significant revenue sources and graded them either presumed stable or questionable. There is only one questionable revenue source now. 2 years ago, the majority were. So let's go through some of the ones that are stable, and I'll tell you how they rebounded. So mid-pandemic, we didn't really know what was gonna happen with property taxes. Turns out that they've been fine. They continue, the market value continues to go up, your taxable value continues to go up. So this came off of the questionable list last year and went to stable. Next. When we were hired, the General Motors plant was closed. It was questionable if and when it was gonna reopen, if and when what the capacity would be at the plant. And it has reopened. It is capacity, they're adding shifts. And so we believe that this is also rebounded from questionable to stable, which is fantastic. It adds a very large dollar amount that you rely on General Motors for. Next. State shared revenue. So this is sales tax collected across the state. All of us pay when we buy things. It funnels through Lansing and comes back down through a formula that is primarily calculated based on population. So back in early 2021, we had already gotten past the part of the pandemic where we realized, oh, everybody's home, they're buying a ton of stuff online. It is actually okay, sales tax is fine. You see that big jump in 2022, what we had not anticipated at the time was it took the state about 1.5 years to go through the results of the 2020 census. And because the city of Hamtramck had population growth, last year you received not only an ongoing increase, but you also got retro pay for that 18 months that they were still calculating your share based on your old census data. So that's why there's such a stark increase there into 22, and why 23 and on is fairly higher than it was in 20 and 21. So again, we consider this to be quite stable. And should continue to grow as sales tax grows across the state. District Court. So at the time we were first hired, the court was, I don't know if it had reopened at that point, but it was very limited activity. And as a result, the processed cases and tickets and fines and everything else that runs through the court was down quite a bit. 2020 was, hit a low. 21 started to rebound. 22 rebounded quite a bit. And after some investigation, it appears that that was a case of catching up from the prior 2 years, that there was a backlog, which is why 23 has come back down, but still ahead of where it had been prior to 2022. We have no reason to think that the activity at the court should slow down or decline. In fact, we would guess it would increase slightly over the coming years, and so this too is now considered stable. This is the really exciting one, income taxes. So I'm not entirely sure everything that the city's been doing on the administrative side, but keep it up. The collection of income tax has been outstanding over the last 2 years. So, not to throw stones at anyone, but prior administrations were probably leaving some money on the table. But current administration is out there collecting, and, I mean, that's over $1 million jump. So, as long as people continue to work and people continue to live here, there's no reason why that income tax number should go down. So again, stable. Oh, no, it's okay. The one questionable one is related to the jail. Next slide, please. So this is actually better than we anticipated before, because we didn't know at the time that the Wayne County Jail would be used as a juvenile detention center. That decision hadn't been made at that point in time. So the city has received revenue for that, but it is anticipated that it will close for good, and that revenue will go away permanently. But given all of the other increases that you have, that does appear to be a manageable loss. So where are we at going forward? Revenue has stabilized. 24 months ago, that was not the case. It was very much in doubt, and as you can see here, it has not only rebounded, but it has continued to increase, and we expect it will continue into the future over the next several years, because all of those significant revenue sources that we talked about, barring a catastrophe that we're not anticipating, there's no reason why they should do anything but continue to grow. Next slide, please. So this is a summary of some of what I've said already. The income taxes should keep going up. The district court should continue to do well. Next slide. Something that we haven't mentioned yet, the ARPA money. So you have received $2.26 million through the state of Michigan. It originated at the federal government. And for the purposes of our forecast, we've recognized it in 3 equal parts over the next 3 years. So it will need to be spent, it needs to be committed by the end of 2024, it needs to be spent by the end of 2026. The census adjustment I mentioned was $860,000 of back pay, basically. But going forward, you're going to get monthly, or actually bi-monthly revenue from the state based on your higher population now. Next, please. So on the expenditure side, so let me preface this. The conclusion that we came to 2 years ago, this conclusion still holds true. The city of Hamtramck does not really have an expenditure problem. You've had a revenue problem. Much like many other cities across the state, especially in urban areas, because the decline in property tax revenue from the Great Recession, 2008 to 2011, it was crippling to any mature community. If you still had room to grow and people were putting up neighborhoods, you wouldn't have been as impacted. But because you were a mature city, fully built out, you were hurt pretty badly. Your expenditures are under control. Next slide, please. So this delineates between personnel expenses and other. You can see the vast majority of your expenses are related to your people. your head count here in the city is far less than it was a decade ago. In my opinion personally, I don't think that you have any extra employees. If anything, it would be wonderful if you could hire more. Revenue doesn't necessarily support that, but if there's talk of what can we do about expenses, it's really only people that could be affected. The other operating expenses are quite lean. Next. Of your personnel expenses, now we split personnel into 3 categories. The blue is wages and fringes. The gray is your pension contributions, and orange is the health care. So you've actually done a very good job over the last several years of changing healthcare plans in order to save money. So looking at this graph, you can see there's really not anything there left to cut if we're still going to be offering that benefit. The gray portion, your MERS contribution, you have to make this. There is no way that you're allowed under the state constitution to not make your required contribution. And so that is absolutely fixed. If you wanted to do something on the expenditure side, it would end up falling into wages, but again, I don't think you need to do that. Next slide, please. Your MERS contribution, thankfully, over the last couple of years, has started to come down as an overall percentage of your total expenses. If you looked at this slide from a couple of years ago, we were concerned that it was going to continue to grow. In fact, we thought at some point it would be well in excess of 1/3 of your general fund budget would just go to paying pensions for people that had already retired. Next slide. So the reality is, it's not an expenditure problem here, has not been. It's been on the revenue side, which is why I was so excited to see all of those various revenue sources rebounding. There isn't any fat on the bone here. Very excited to hear about the grants and being able to get some equipment, things that you've sorely needed. That's wonderful. Continue to look for those opportunities to let someone else buy you things. That is always wonderful. Next slide, please. So here's our forecast now with all of this new data that we have. General fund balance should continue to increase over the end of this current fiscal year, 2023. We expect the next 2 years, 24 and 25, to continue to increase. Then there's a bit of a turn. You see this red arrow that we put in. Now, this is a forecast. So what happens when you do a forecast? Usually, you're conservative, right? We don't want to overestimate our revenue and then get caught shorthanded. But then we also tend to be very conservative with our expenses, guessing that we're going to spend more than we actually will. So while the forecast itself does turn, as you continue to make good decisions, as your revenue sources continue to be stable and will probably be better than what is forecasted, I would not expect that those last 3 years of the forecast would come true. But this should serve as a reminder to you that the decisions that you make do matter, and the decisions that you make on spending today, if it's a recurring expense, it compounds over time. So anything that you add to the budget now, unless it's a one-time purchase, it's there in the second year, and the third year, and the fourth year. And so I would recommend continuing to look ahead, and as you're making decisions, factor in what the tail of that decision is. How long is this going to affect us? And if it is a long-term decision, are we able to afford it? But look at the revenues as well. If they continue to exceed expectation, you'll be able to afford additional things. It really is a game of inches here in Hamtramck. Next slide, please. So the forecast is operational. There are some very significant unfunded needs of the city. Gentlemen talked about potholes. The roads need work. Your unfunded pension is still very significant. To the extent that you can replace people that have left or find people, it may cost more money because it is a seller's market for talent right now. We're seeing wages in key positions going up 10, 20, 30% just to get a qualified candidate in the door. Vehicles, equipment, not just public safety, but all DPW, everything's expensive. You can't buy a fire truck for 50 grand. They're 600,000 or 700,000. Police cars fully outfitted, max are like 65 grand at this point.
A lot.
Yeah, they're not inexpensive. And so we don't have these big ticket items built into the forecast. You haven't been spending money on it, which is why it's not in there now. But these are things that you will have to take care of and replace over the next X number of years. Next slide, please. So again, I'm cautiously optimistic, even though this forecast does turn in 2027. It's very little. It's not a big drop. And I'm very confident that you can manage that now through then and beyond. You're not locked into anything today for what's going to happen in 2027 or 2028. Next slide, please. So I'm very happy to tell you that things are much better than they were. You're in a stable-ish position now. You're not affluent, you're not rolling in money, but at the same time, you're not going broke like you were 2 years ago. It's a good place to be. There are a lot of communities that are not in that shape. There are a lot of communities that are going broke. But you are in charge of your own destiny at this point. Thanks to the improvements in the economy, locally and nationally, you're sitting in a good spot where you can make positive progress going forward. So while the outlook is improved, please don't think that everything is fixed. It's not fixed. It's going to be an ongoing problem and an ongoing solution that you'll be making in every council meeting with every decision that you make. So I said that you had a revenue problem. You still have a revenue problem. And I say that because you don't have control over most of your revenues. Property taxes, you're already capped out. So you can't decide to raise taxes unless the taxpayers were willing to pass a Public Act 345 millage. That has failed here a couple times already. No surprise, it fails almost everywhere that goes for it because it's just not an appealing millage to the taxpayer. Your income taxes, that's where you can't raise the percentage, but you can do, as you have been, better and better at collecting. So that is an opportunity where hard work and sweat will generate more money. But there's nothing you can do, you're not gonna get more ARPA, there's nothing you can do to improve state shared revenue. Maybe something can be done with the jail, I don't know, but you can't necessarily tell Wayne County what to do. So those big ticket revenues, most of them are out of your control. You're at the mercy of the world. Can economic development drive income and property taxes? Yes, absolutely it can. So that should be a priority as well. Bring more businesses in. If people are making improvements to their homes or their businesses, those should be captured in their taxable value and in their assessments. That is a way that hard work and sweat here in the city can generate additional revenues. Actually, I think we could skip over 345. To my knowledge, you're not going for that again. I don't blame you. It is a very, very tough sell. You will need to continue to work with collection and enforcement of your ordinances and taxes and anything that you can influence. I would strongly encourage the creation of a very comprehensive capital improvement plan that looks at all of your infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, all of the equipment, the computers in City Hall, the roof, anything that might end up costing a significant amount of money. Get it all in one place, and so you can begin to plan on how you're going to improve or replace those assets. To the extent possible, look into additional revenue opportunities, be they grants, be they any other programs that you may be able to tap into. Thanks. So in summary, you're in a much better spot than you were 2 years ago. Continued improvement, certainly possible. You're on the right path. But you can't get complacent because things aren't fixed. You still have a ways to go in order to restore the city's physical condition to what I think you desire it to be. So this is definitely a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're probably only in mile 1 or 2, and it's a 26-mile race. So please be patient, and please keep your eye on the ball. Any questions from council?
Mr. Chair, go ahead. So today I had a time, I took the day off. So Plan More Finance, we did city hire, or Michigan State mandate us to do the third party finance report?
I'm sorry, I was
I
distracted.
think that Kathy had hired them
Originally,
originally.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was completely tuned out, I was answering something.
Correct. You
The
guys have to
State of
listen
Michigan
this.
Treasury is financing this report.
This year they are?
Yeah,
Great. Yeah, they did
Michigan-
it the first
Michigan
time I
State.
remember this.
Treasury.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
requested them to
Yep.
finance it again. They
okay.
agreed.
So same thing we did before.
100%.
My colleagues, they don't know why he is coming for report today. Second thing is part of the finance, CFO job, what Plan More doing today, CFO has to do this report also. Of course, we need a third party to do it. Okay.
The beauty with Plant Moran.
I know, just wanna go back to the, can you go the please slide number 21? So, slide number 21, you see the 2027 and 28, guys.
Yep.
This situation happened 2007, 2009, and after that we crash, we had the surplus, and crash come like that way, exactly coming right there. So we give the 2 times. Me and Mr. Jolak request the Michigan State to come look at our, we don't have, second time we brought it. So our expectation was there, again and again, some of the contract we cannot touch without emergency finance manager. That's why we brought it, and most of the time they screw us. And no matter what, today we are healthy, there is the one is coming. There is no question about it, because I've been experienced 16 years with this. So it's coming. Same thing, 2009, my first council meeting, I told them after, what is this?
American accent.
American Excel. Rainy day fund, that was not keeping. Expanding that time is it was almost hitting the police department. Overtime money was like a crazy. We did little control it. So if there is a revenue section, Plan More said, revenue cannot be miracle things this city, no question about it. There is not American Excel, another one is coming, not GM, another one coming. So your revenue not gonna bump up. It's gonna be like that. So 1% revenue, personal income tax is the average this city. You're not gonna see like a lot of personal income tax is coming. So revenue you don't expect is gonna come like a miracle something. But the other hand, 2027, like we are planning to long-term relationship, long-term keep this city stable, that is the thing we have to look for. If the jail go, what, 1.5 or 1.7? Okay, 1.3 will be right there, and that your yellow line will be up to roof. So all those things, slowly, we have to keep it from now. That is my idea to let you guys know, Planmore. He's doing the good thing. He told you. It's up to you how we gonna maintain it. He tell you the great things. He tell you the you can hire guys. More you hire, more your pension going up. And he also warn you, your pension, you're not making enough. So both things we have to decide how we gonna do it. Today news, I don't know you guys heard the news about the Highland Park. Okay, so it's coming. So we don't want a Hamtramck city somehow our mistake goes to some other receivership. So that's all my request and thank you. Your opinion now up to us how we're gonna maintain and how we're gonna control our cost and revenue. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So I just want to mention that I remember very well the report of last year. It was totally the opposite of this. And you mentioned at the beginning that you weren't sure after the pandemic and stuff, because it kept mentioning that we are going down and by 2025 the city will go into bankruptcy. So sometimes unexpected changes happen. Like this year, the income tax, nobody expected that it would go that high. And the
It's
state
not an
share.
accident. That was hard work on the city's part.
I know, I mean, there's a lot of good work being done, more efficient work and, but again, in this presentation last year, you compared 2003 and 2020, and the income tax revenue was almost the same, 2.6, 2.7. So, I mean, this is very optimistic forecast. I'm not gonna worry about 2028 now, as long as we are doing well for the next several years. Hopefully some positive changes will happen and then, but one thing that wasn't mentioned is the state contribution to the MERS. Last year, they passed the bill that they will increase their contribution from 42% to 60%. And I know it's not guaranteed now, but it's not mentioned anywhere in this
Correct.
presentation.
Actually, very astute. So we did not include that because it has not been awarded yet. There's also, before you accept it, make sure that you have gone through the act, having the actuary calculate what your new contributions are, because there are some strings attached to that money. So the calculation of your payment is going to change. Absolutely, get the money, and that's the right thing, take it from the state. But it is going to have an effect on your expenses as well. It's not just free money.
What do you think, Max?
We're getting ready to apply for it now. We just sat in a webinar last week.
I think just to update council on this particular topic, from 17, the application will start to apply for this particular aid. And by September, they will close that whole process. So by September, they would have decided on each and every application, the amount of contribution that needs to be made, and they would have awarded these contributions. So in the next, 4 or 5 months, we'll have that contribution from the state.
So is there an estimate about how much we are getting a year?
No.
We can't tell?
It's not hold on. It's not a yearly contribution. It's a one-time contribution fixed up to that level. That's what I understood from that webinar.
I think what the mayor was asking of
How
much will save a year.
That I don't know again, because that will end up being dependent on how the MERS does their calculation and how it will affect. Because it will be 60% is not 100%. Okay, so MERS and the state could decide, okay, fine, we've taken you up to 60%, now you guys need to keep going up to 70% or 80%, things like that. So what I'm saying is, that thing is not clear at the moment. It will get clear probably sometime next year, but not this year. So in my budget, for the next year, I have kept us at the same rate of MERS payments as was in the past, about a 6% increase from last year. You know, so that is as conservative an estimate as you can get, because 6% is what is their requirement to keep you going forward. You know, so the way I see it is that I need to be conservative in my estimates in terms of my expenditures and also in terms of revenue. So I'm not going to count on any money coming in unless it has come in.
So if we could continue to run lean to some degree as well and keep the payment high, hopefully we can get those numbers even higher so that we don't have this problem again. We don't want to get made up to 60% and then all of a sudden we start dropping again. We want it to continue to go up. So.
Yeah, so again, we will, in the next 5 months, we'll have a very clear idea as to how much is the state going to contribute to the city, because they'll do, you know, a calculation for each and every city and community. And then we will, and the check that will either go directly to, probably it'll go directly to MERS. It probably won't even come through the city. It'll just, that's what I'm anticipating. I don't think they would want to route it through the cities. You know, the cities are being used to go through and complete the process and the procedure.
Okay, thank you.
Very excited.
Well, I'm very optimistic about that one too, so. Any more questions?
So, one more, sir. It was happened previously. We hold up the March payment, make the budget, brought it here to the council, we approve it, and next session, and we have to pay all the money back and we don't have nothing. So that's why I said, be realistic, be truth, and that's why we see how far we can go.
That's why you have experienced CFO and CM. They all do a good job. Keep it control.
It's team effort.
Team effort, yeah. Okay, I think I don't have anything anymore.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now we move to the mayor report. We'll make it short so we can finish before the iftar time.
We still have close.
We have a closed
Closed
session.
session.
Oh,
So you guys.
We'll speak really fast.
all right. Yeah, well, I don't have anything to say. The activities that happened over the past week or two weren't much. We were invited to Mr. Chaudhry's event, SSDAM. Thank you for that nice iftar. And I was invited to another Bengali event in Beit al-Mukarram. It was fun to meet, the whole community in one place. And I was invited also to be the keynote speaker for a fundraising dinner or iftar in Tennessee for Yemen. Now, I went there for 2 days.
Memphis.
Memphis, yeah.
I used to go there.
Yeah, it's a nice place. That's where I studied for my first board exam in medical school. I escaped from Hamtramck, secret visit there, stayed for 3 months, took my board exam, passed, and came back. So I had good memories there. We raised over 200,000 for orphans in Yemen. It was a good event. That said, this is the last 10 days of Ramadan, so we're not meeting before the Eid, so I want to say happy Eid to everyone in advance. That's all for me today. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if you have anything to say?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have to say this one. I need a city manager and also attorney attention, city clerk. So there is the misunderstanding to the public right now. I think last year or few years ago, we had a change amendment to the charter. It was no elected official can run more than 3 terms, same position. So I'm talking to in general, everybody. So it is after we pass, it is effect from next year, January. So from that year, January, to start counting all those 3 years. Some of the people has the misunderstanding.
Now you became a freshman. You get 2 more
Well,
terms,
yes, still I have a more chance than you because you lost 2 years. if I get elected, I still have a chance.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I just wanna, Mr. Mohit Mahmood, I just wanna clarify that one, because people misunderstood that one. And also, again, we don't wanna leave the Hamtramck city. There is this year election, some new council members might come in. We don't wanna leave the city for them, like a bad situation. So that is my intention. Basically is that, I wanna clear that, amendment. Thank you, everybody. Any question, again, you guys can come talk to the clerk, attorney, and city manager. They will explain you more better than us, because some question came to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. City council members, anyone wants to say something?
Yeah, thank you,
Councilman Abu Musa.
GDA, Mayor, City Council, to bring this parking issue. I tell the residents, come to the Joseph Campo and shop now. You don't get the ticket until next 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I thought, Councilman Hassan, I thought it's the past and close. So 3 times maybe from the past to now, but your clarification, they will see.
Yeah, no. Anyone else?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go last.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Councilman
All right.
Chaudhry.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to you all again. Thank you for being here. I just wanted to thank you for attending the iftar that occurred on last Sunday from SSDA Sile Shadar Dakhin Shurma. Over 300 folks showed up, including elected officials, U.S. Senator, Congressman, our very own City of Hamtramck Chief Police Officer Annie Moise and Chief Fire Chief Matthew, along with our mayor and council members, as well as our city manager was there. Thank you so much for joining us that wonderful event. And without you, it wouldn't be a successful and wonderful. We appreciate it. We enjoyed your company. I just wanted to talk about street sweeping. It's again, we are in need of street sweeping. City of Hamtramck streets and roads, we get a lot of complaints from the communities that we're not fixing, we're not sweeping, we're not doing anything. Now we're working on it, so hopefully everybody's effort will take care of the city. We always talk about that we want to beautify, we want to make this beautiful city. But if we don't initiate it, if we don't start buying things or start working on our own first, how can we just, us residents and others, to take care of it? So that's a good start. And this is our last 10 days of Ramadan. And it's going fast, tell you. It's really already gone, 20 days. And in advance, I'd like to say Eid Mubarak. And you're welcome to my house on Eid Day or after Eid Day to join celebration of Eid al-Fitr. And then third thing, that the free parking, it's gonna start this 14th of April.
Yes.
You know, and now you can go to shop. Tell your friends, family, and constituents that the free parking is now until after the Eid, right? After one day after the Eid is still.
One day after the calendar, one day after as what the calendar recognizes it.
Okay, one day after the calendar recognizes. So there you go. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, everyone, whoever joined today, and congratulations to all new members that are joining with us for different commissions. My perspective, my standpoint, I want to talk about something in the international politics, that I want to condemn whatever happened in Alaska Masjid, the way people getting killed and getting beaten up by holidays. You know, I want to request to USA and the UNA take the proper steps to save those innocent lives and, you know, have people to this most freedom country. And if you don't react properly, that's making us a bias. So we don't want to be in this position. That America, you know, we should stand for what we believe and what we do and talk about. And free parking, of course, is going to be an announcement on the website, so our community will hear from the time what is when it's starting and when it's going to be ending. And thank you everyone for all this iftar party that everyone joining. I have small recommendations on the future. When we our city going to any iftar party, I will say that our city manager should represent a group of people, and this is the you should lead those group. Then this is this representation of the city of Hamtramck. That will be look nicer, and that's my recommendation. And everything else great. Thank you so much, and happy Eid to all of you, and we'll see you after Eid. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I forgot
Thank
one
you.
more thing.
I'll get back to you. Thank you, Councilman Wahid Mahmood, for mentioning what's happening in Al-Aqsa. And that just confirmed the controversial proclamation that we had a month ago, that we are with liberty and freedom of all nations and against suppression of all suppressing governments. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
I have lots of residents complaining and requesting to City Hall has to go back to the 5-day operation. So the residents who he was requesting, and I just want to let you guys know, we are talking to our team and talk to the managers, and we'll go back to the normal operation hopefully soon, because the example is all the cities and everybody 5-day operation, and also especially after Friday, people coming, our people, and see the city is closed, they're going back. So that is the problem coming from the residents, request coming from the residents. So we just want to let you guys know we are thinking about it and we are talking. So you're gonna get answer soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, so do we have any report for the controller? He already gave the report, right? Anything else?
We can escape him. We got him enough. Let's see.
No, because the report was the same one as Plant Moran.
We know you're fasting.
All
I
right.
can't even talk. I'm so
I mean, he answered a lot of questions, so
Yes.
that's fine.
That's
Now we move to the city manager report.
you can
Just
make
a
it
few
short.
things, try to keep it short. Are happy to report that our code enforcement is at full staffing, so getting into spring here, I want to remind everyone to keep the grass cut, get the yards clean, keep the alleys empty of the garbage can unless it's actually garbage day, and keep the garbage in the garbage can with the garbage can closed. Code enforcement is hammering hard. We're trying very hard to keep the city clean. We want it beautiful for its residents. Happy to also report that DPS is just about full staff now. We've hired a bunch of people on, so some of the little tasks that we were missing before, hopefully we'll be able to get that taken care of. And we will continue to do the pothole patching as we go. The only thing that we are really hurting on is not enough police officers still. So still really trying to recruit that hard. If you know anyone, send them our way. We can potentially hire people that want to be police officers in other positions, and then eventually groom them into those spots if all goes well. That includes reserve officers as well. Please continue to spread the word. That's all I have for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we move back to the public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Liz Blasey?
Hello again, Mayor and Council. Just a couple quick things. I would like to congratulate Adam Boydell and Salim again on your appointments to serve the public, and I really appreciate your willingness to step up and serve the community in a meaningful way. I'm still curious about the timeline for the hazard mitigation research grant. I don't think that was addressed in the discussion. And then I would like to thank council and the mayor and the city again for moving so quickly on the free parking and a structure that better represents the diverse holiday shopping needs of our community. I think that's really important in such a diverse community that everybody's shopping needs are represented and accommodated for with free parking. I'd also like to thank Plant Moran. That presentation is one that I look forward to every year because I'm a nerd. And then, related to the parking, I hope everybody notices and enjoys the Ramadan banners and lights arranged by API Vote on Campo and Caniff with the support of the mayor and council, and thank you for working with us to make that happen. Eid Mubarak and Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you, Len. Mr. Bill Meyer? 2 minutes agenda items, sir.
First of all, congratulations on the finest financial report I've ever heard in the 22 years I've lived here. And I just have to think back at some of the people in the previous administration, some of the xenophobic people who said, there's no way you guys are gonna be able to run this city. I think it's not only because of that, but I think it's also because you have a team that's actually working together. We finally overcame our political dysfunctioning, and we have some great people running the city now, and we're working together, and that's the most important thing. That's why the report's better, I think. That's one of the reasons. But I want to say that I don't think you answered the question about the zoning on those buildings, because the question was, why didn't they change it back when they started paying commercial? Why did they stay residential all those years and still pay commercial? Why didn't someone say, oh, you're a commercial building, you've just got a commercial license, you're paying commercial taxes, change the zoning? Why didn't they do it then? Why did they wait till now? I don't know, there's some other factor going on here, which I don't want to research. Okay. I also want to mention that congratulations to Adam, who became an advisor to the Human Relations Commission. I'm not quite clear, because, you know, I was the chair of the founding committee that started this Human Relations Commission. I was the chair of the commission for 5 years, and we created a thing called advisory groups within that commission. And the administration that we had to work with here was totally opposed to that, and stopped that, and didn't let us have advisory groups. So I don't know, is he a full-fledged member of One Hamtramck, or is he an advisor to the One Hamtramck? I'm sorry, to the Human Relations Commission. Stop my time. Okay.
You got 30 seconds, Max, to talk on his time.
Okay, I'll get it done. All right, so we actually have a full board at the moment. So we're allowed to appoint advisory, which is not, it's not a full member, but it's still an appointed position, not voting at this point, but in theory, if someone leaves, that person will slide right into the full membership.
Well, if you guys knew the history of this whole thing and the hassle that we went through with this commission, we created advisory groups, and that commission, the mayor, former mayor, and several resisted that and told us we can't do that. We can't have our own advisory group. So now all of a sudden we got a totally different thing. That's fine. I'm glad it's working, and I'm so glad that I'll mark it in.
On the zoning too, we can't
Stop
really
my time.
answer why they did it rezoning years ago. So somewhere along the way, the
Okay.
city got zoned and that stayed residential, there was commercial businesses there. Just because a business.
And the thing
it's
is, next, if you don't mind me interrupting, if a business has been there for 15 years, we don't know it's really zoned incorrectly typically.
No one's
unless-
paying attention to it.
Yeah, unless
Taxes
somebody
are being
else is
paid.
applying
So
for a
every
Unless
city-
a new
business.
business comes in and.
Yep.
then we look at it.
Every city has zoning stuff like this. It's
It
just a
it
normal
came to
thing.
light when, like you said, the marijuana one opened and we seen it was an issue. We recognized that that whole block was all residential. We scratched our head and wondered why ourselves, took it upon ourselves to fix it.
Well,
Time's up. Go ahead, finish
Well,
your
it's not a
sentence.
problem now anyways. I just was curious about the past, why it happened in the past. We're all cool now, so. I do want to warn you about the.
Well, your time really is up though.
No, it isn't.
How much
That's
do
it.
you have
I got a
left?
minute 49 seconds here.
2 minutes? Out of 2 minutes?
Yeah, I got 10 seconds. And I'm gonna ask for another minute.
Mayor, can you have another minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep talking over him.
All right, thank you so much. No, this is the way it should be. We should be able to talk back and forth anyways, and not a time limit. That's the way you should treat the public. Everyone, not just me. I'm not trying to. So I want to just warn you about relying on grants, you know? Just like we had an emergency financial manager who thought we could privatize everything and solve the problems. Now we're discovering that's not the answer. Grants are not the answer either. If you can't come up with money to solve and spend that you need, you're taking a risk. It's risk on grants. It's nice to get money and you're begging people for money and they're giving it to you. That's great. But that's not how you're supposed to get money originally. Now everything's turning into grants. It's not our fault. I'm not saying. I'm saying we're all in this position. Every city. They're all starting to rely on grants. Is this the way to pay for things? No, it isn't. There's a lot of risk. You have to get people who know how to write grants, so you have to hire them, you gotta find them, there's tons of paperwork involved, all this stuff is unnecessary if it was done the old way.
What does your clock say?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, Lord,
It's not a minute, okay.
you really are.
Okay, well, Hassan was right about privatizing. That's what happened back then. Don't do it again. Don't let it happen. That's what happened to parking meters. You
Thank
privatized
you,
parking
sir.
meetings.
Thank you,
and
sir.
We lost all that money.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's all for public comment.
All right, thank you. And I just want to mention that we discussed that zoning thing in the planning commission, and one of the members brought that topic about residential, commercial of Kniff. So I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was discussed a couple of months ago. I don't think he heard me talking about it. Mr. Burma. He's busy. But I'll tell him after the meeting. All right, so I think we're done. We move to
There
the,
will not be voting after closed session, so we're just gonna, well, we're not gonna adjourn, but we're not gonna come back live.
okay,
So if we can,
closed
motion
session?
to close session,
I'll motion to close the session.
Second.
all right. Do we start right away or take a?
Yeah, no, we'll take it, let's start right away.
No, not right.
If we get it done in 20 minutes, we'll be able to.
Zeno.
make it to the-
Yeah.
And if, you know, it's 8 or 10. Yeah, let's go for some, he's done talking about it.
Yeah, it's
If it was Jim, he would.